But this time round, victory here today will take them above Real Madrid at the top of the rankings as Xabi Alonso's team go to Girona. This time just up the road from here tomorrow night. Plenty at stake, and Hansi Flick's team, of course, looking to bounce back from that 3-0 Champions League defeat away at Chelsea on Tuesday evening, rather. And on the back of that result, Flick has rung the changes for the home side. 5 starting alterations from the team that were beaten away at Chelsea. Johan Garcia stays in goal. Gerard Martin comes into the back line alongside Eric Garcia, Pau Cubarsí and Alejandro Balde. Double change at the base of the midfield with Marc Bernal and Marc Casado coming in. Dani Olmo and Rafinha also start alongside Lamine Yamal and Robert Lewandowski. As for Alavés, defeat to Celta Vigo last weekend, they also make changes in both personnel and formation. It's a 4-5-1 system for the visitors as Victor Pereda, Abdi Rekba, Kalebe and Pablo Ibanez come into the starting 11. Antonio Silva in goal, Johnny, Nao Tengala and John Pacheco in the back line. Kaleba, Rekba and Ibanez partnered by former Barcelona star Denis Suarez and Antonio Blanco in the engine room. And it is Lucas Boy that leads the attack as a sole front man for the Basque side. Kick-off here just a couple of moments away as the two managers, Eduardo Coudet and Hansi Flick, just exchange pleasantries. The referee for this afternoon's game is Miguel Angel Ortiz Arias, and it is Jorge Figuera on VAR. So that is the situation for Barcelona coming into this game. A win would take them outright above Real Madrid, currently a point behind them, and a draw would also be enough based on goal difference. It's very, very interesting to see how Barcelona do respond to what was a fairly humbling night in West London and continued a difficult streak of results for them in the Champions League. They've now lost twice in Europe this season, defeat of course against PSG. Still firmly in the reckoning to qualify for the knockout stages in 2026, but it's a record that Flick will want to reverse between now and the end of December. Same can't be said of their domestic form though, just 2 defeats in LaLiga, losing away at Real Madrid and Sevilla, and they've won all 6 home games, 5 of those at their previous temporary base, the Estadi Luis Companys, and then that win over Athletic Club last weekend in front of a buoyant crowd back here, home, real home, at the Estadio Camp Nou. Alavés mid-table, 14th in the rankings, just 1 win in their last 5 in the Liga, and they've only won 1 away game all season, so Barcelona firm favourites here. That's reflected in the defensive setup adopted by the home team, and very strong La Masia vibe about the Barcelona team. Garcia, Martin, Cubarsí, Balde, Bernal, Casado, Lamine, all graduates from the famous Barcelona Youth Academy, and certainly one that served them well down the years. Before we get kicked off here, we can give you some latest Premier League scores. 3 PM games in the English top flight. Brentford 0, Burnley 0, Manchester City 1, Leeds 0. That was a Phil Foden goal inside the first 60 seconds at the Etihad Stadium, and potentially a bit of a shock on the cards at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 0, Bournemouth 2. Adley and Tyler Adams with the goals for the Cherries. But it is Alavés that get us underway here, going from right to left in their change all-white strip. Barcelona in their traditional burgundy and gold. It's a pumped ball into that right channel, and Alavés win themselves an immediate corner. Rafinha, who is tracking back there against Kalebe, and it'll be a corner to the visitors immediately here. Give them a chance to bring Tenagli and Pacheco forward from defence and see if they can formulate an early test for Barcelona. Whipped in towards the near post, only half dealt with, and it's helped on, and it's a goal for Alavés! 45 seconds on the clock! And Ibanez from close range pokes the visitors in front. What a start for Alavés! And just days after defeat at Stamford Bridge, Barcelona are behind here inside a minute. And it's a routine ball just played into the near post, not dealt with. And Ibanez, with the simplest of tasks, 2 or 3 yards out, just toes it beyond Johan Garcia. And there's questions being asked here about Marc Bernal, who's the closest player, as the ball is knocked down to Ibanez to steer home. It's Casado on the near post who loses the first tussle. And then it's just poked towards the goal line by Tenaglia. And Ibanez does the rest just in front of Johan Garcia. 2 duels lost. Casado and then Bernal. And Ibanez couldn't really miss from that type of situation. Alavés are on the march immediately from the restart here. Break down the left-hand side and just drilled across by Rebac. And Barcelona are all at sea here. A goal behind. And that wasn't far away. He's just trying to get it across the face of goal to see if Kalebe could get a touch on it. And drifts out of play for a goal kick. What an opening. 90 seconds we've had here so far. If you're a little late joining us, Barcelona 0, Alavés 1. Pablo Ibanez, 45 seconds on the clock. And a shock on the cards already here. Barcelona very, very nervous. Here's Lamine Yamal. Just tries to steer that over the halfway line in the direction of Dani Olmo, but it's won back by Barcelona. And Olmo will chase across to this near right-hand touchline just to keep it in play for Hansi Flick's team. Here's Alejandro Balde over the halfway line for Barcelona. Tries to link up with Rafinha, but it just runs into a bit of white-shirted traffic inside the centre circle and loses out. Quick turnover though. Alavés want a foul. Referee says no. Balde's got space to charge forward here. Links again with Rafinha, who'll go to the byline, trying to lift it in the direction of Lamine Yamal and Lewandowski, but it's cleared away by Alavés. Good positive reaction from Barcelona to falling behind so early on. And Alavés win themselves a throw-in over in their right-back position. Kalebe getting back there to lend a hand in front of Johnny. Xabi Alonso, if he's watching on, this is the start he would have wanted. A free kick for Alavés here as Dani Olmo just a bit too keen there to win possession back, and decision goes against him. Tussling with the Alavés captain Antonio Blanco. So 5 minutes gone here. As I say, Barcelona have responded well to falling behind so very early on. A long way for Alavés to go to manage this type of situation, and free kick in Barcelona's direction this time on the halfway line. Johnny just snaps in on Marc Casado. Now here's Lamine Yamal, immediately doubled up on as he tries to trick his way over the halfway line and wins himself a free kick. That was Rebac, who was tangling and tussling with the teenager. He's got a hole in his shirt there in it. Pretty straightforward decision for the referee to make. Yet to see anything of Robert Lewandowski, the central focal point of this Barcelona attack. Lovely change of feet there from Lamine Yamal. Needs space to step into infield. Switch to Casado. Lofted over now to Alejandro Balde. He's got Johnny pushed back right onto the corner of the Alavés penalty area. Lofted in. And that will just drift behind for a Barcelona goal kick. Marc Casado there offering the option for Alejandro Balde. An early little reminder of exactly what Lamine Yamal can do. From a standing start and dancing feet, gets away from Pareda. And Alavés will load that area of the pitch whenever he looks to step in field. There'll be numbers over there to back up Pareda and Rebac. A small pocket of Alavés fans that have made the trip here today. Very, very loud in the far top corner of the Camp Nou. And even the most ambitious amongst them would not have predicted a start quite like this. Here is Rebac, and Eric Garcia goes to the ground there. Rebac has got away from him. Needed runners in behind there. Who's Gosco Rubanes, who was ready to break forward. So actually just smashed away by Barcelona. And here is Lewandowski, does really well to control that out of the sky. Feed it on to Dani Olmo. Now Rafinha with a chance, and it's blocked behind for a corner. There's Tenaglia there, just throws himself in front of Rafinha. There's two Alavés players there just diving in front of the ball. Johnny Castro and Tenaglia. Doesn't matter who gets it away, as long as the situation is dealt with. First corner for Barcelona. Curled in from that left-hand side by Dani Olmo. Headed away towards Rafinha on the edge of the box. Blocked by Alavés. And Alavés want a foul there. The ball is recycled back in. And Eric Garcia just heads it over the top. Alavés players not happy with that decision. The initial ball was cleared away, and Ibanez, who was caught. We are just being shown a replay of the opening goal from Pablo Ibanez, and it's a case of two duels just being lost by Barcelona from a corner. Casado initially on the near post, just not sure of his surroundings, and then tenacity and desire from Tenaglia to get there in front of Marc Bernal, and then just prodded home by Ibanez. Not known for his goal-scoring exploits, of course. He's got himself off the mark here today. First goal of the 25-26 campaign. It's a loose ball play forward here, and Barcelona have equalised. Lamine Yamal, 8 minutes gone, his 7th goal of the campaign, and Barcelona back level. And Alavés, for all the positive work in the opening stages, a fairly simple ball over the top, in behind. Rafinha cuts it across, and Alavés not able to get it away. And Lamine Yamal lashes it into the roof of the net. And we are level. Really good link-up play between Balde and Rafinha. It's a miscue initially on the 6-yard line from Dani Olmo. And he just looked a little sheepish there as he spotted Lamine Yamal darting in behind him. No chance for Antonio Silveira in the Alavés goal. And inside the first 10 minutes, a goal at both ends. A really, really exciting start here at the Camp Nou. Barcelona 1, Alavés 1. Call it now and say that I'd be shocked if we don't see a few more goals, possibly before the half-time whistle, as ball just lofted into that right channel for Dani Olmo to chase, and it's eventually dealt with by the Alavés backline. Pacheco, who gets across there to cover in behind Pareda. Clear it back over the halfway line for Barcelona to restart. So 10 minutes gone here. Roberto Ibanez's goal after 45 seconds stunned the Camp Nou, and then Barcelona hitting back through their teenage talisman, Lamine Yamal. 5 LaLiga goals for him now this season. And it's Hansi Flick's team that are beginning to call the tempo here now. Everybody but Joan Garcia pushed over the halfway line into the Alavés half, and here is the goal scorer, Lamine Yamal. 25 yards to goal, just trying to dip and swerve in off that right-hand touchline, but runs into traffic again. Ibanez and Rebac are going to have to work together to try and keep him at bay, and he's done brilliantly here to just dip away from Pereira again, dink to the penalty spot, and Alavés just about managed to survive. With Dani Olmo, who's recovering there, just barges into the back of Pablo Ibanez and wins a free kick inside the Alavés penalty area. The visitors not looking confident, trying to get the ball away there. And the home side starting to hit their groove, and of caused the problems that in reality we probably expected them to cause for their visitors here today. Restart from Sivera. The long ball played up towards the edge of the Barcelona penalty area, but that's well dealt with by Pau Kouassi. Interesting calls by Hansi Flick for the starting lineup here today. Eric Garcia, normally a right back, normally a centre back by trade, playing at right back. Gerard Martin, normally a left back in the centre of the defence alongside Kouassi. Bernal and Casado, certainly not regular first team starters. Combination of that defeat to Chelsea and their busy incoming schedule. They've got Atletico Madrid here on Tuesday night. I will be your commentator for that one as well. Should be a real cracker, that. Atletico Madrid, of course, always in and around Real Madrid and Barcelona at the top of LaLiga, currently fourth. Villarreal doing their best to upset the established order. A bit more defending here again for Alavés and John Pacheco to do. He does it well, just gets it away from Lewandowski. Quick throw in taken by Kouassi, back to Johan Garcia. For Barcelona to build once more over the halfway line. Here is Kouassi again. Become a real leading figure in this Barcelona backline. Incredible balance of youth and experience last season with himself and Inigo Martinez. Despite being the junior partner there, he's arguably the senior partner with Ronald Araujo or Jules Koundé, etc. Going to be a youthful Spanish backline at the World Cup next summer. Himself and Dean Howson, key parts of Luis de la Fuente's squad. That's a rather panicked clearance out by the Alavés goalkeeper Antonio Sivera. And Barcelona will win back possession on the halfway line again. Here is Eric Garcia, space to just tuck in from right back into the feet of Lamine Yamal. Two players immediately on his toes, Rebac and Pareda. Barcelona will just carousel it out to the other flank now with Alejandro Balde lifted in towards the far post, and Pareda nervously looking over his shoulder there with Lamine Yamal behind him. Just manages to hook away the clearance. Be another throw into Barcelona. It's all one-way traffic here now. A professional, confident reaction to that early setback from Ibanez. Johnny just showing his experience over there at right back to try and draw the foul. The referee eventually decides to go in the opposite direction. Frustrated by that, the former Wolverhampton Wanderers man, it's appealing that both Balde and Olmo were fouling him, and the referee, Mr. Arias, thinks differently. Here's Casado. Long drifted ball played over to the right hand side for Lamine Yamal once more. Drops the shoulder to get away from Rebac. Good recovery there from the Alavés winger. Was tricked initially by Lamine Yamal, but won the second battle, and he'll try and lead the charge here now for Alavés down this left hand side. Needs support, gets it from Denis Suarez. Just couldn't quite roll it back into the path of Lucas Boy. Clearance slightly clumsily just smacked away there by Johan Garcia, and Alavés will pick it up and build some possession for themselves. Here is Johnny Castro over the halfway line, chased backwards by Rafinha. Ibanez back to Denis Suarez. It's the first bit of possession that we've seen Alavés have since Lamine Yamal equalised. Just a little short on options when they try and build into Barcelona territory, because the visitors are so quick to press and try and win back possession, and that's exactly what they've done there. Bernal does really well. Rafinha into the feet of Lewandowski, but just gets tangled in behind the Polish striker. Sivera will go for distance from the clearance. Be a throw in here in favour of Alavés. Chased into the corner by Lucas Boy. Was happy to put the shoulder on Pau Kubasi and drag Alavés up the pitch, just to give them something to work from here down this near left-hand touchline, just in front of the Barcelona penalty area. And it's a wasted throw-in and possession given away very, very cheaply. So as you mentioned, coming into this game, a draw would put Barcelona top on goal difference. A win would give them clear blue water above Real Madrid. By 2 points. I beg your pardon, actually, that's not quite the case. Of course, LaLiga decides eventual champions based on head-to-head records, so they would go above them on goal difference. But if it was to be the end of the season tomorrow, it would be based on head-to-head. Free kick for Barcelona here, just outside their own penalty area. Gerard Martinez caught by Lucas Boy. Real Madrid, as it stands, have the head-to-head record on Barcelona. 2-1 winners back in October. Martinez back on his feet. Barcelona ready to go again. Just checking in again on the Premier League latest. Still Brentford 0, Burnley 0. Manchester City now 2 goals in front at home to Leeds United. Phil Foden and Josko Gvardiol. Barcelona try and break over the halfway line here. Dani Olmo there, just forced to check back. Eventually manages to get sweeping pass out to Rafinha. Now Marc Bernal, Eric Garcia pushed up right in behind Lamine Yamal here. Will try and go at Rebac again. Forced in field this time. Start to get a little bit more of a grip on Lamine Yamal. The two players deployed down this Alavés left-hand side, Rebac and Pareda, but as we've already seen so far, it only takes a minute with Barcelona's magic man. Yeah, the final latest score from the Premier League 3 o'clockers. Sunderland have pulled a goal back at home to Bournemouth. Enzo Lafille from the penalty spot after a couple of early goals from Adley and Adams. Here's Eric Garcia. Space to just roll that along the halfway line for Gerard Martin. Now Bernal just switched places momentarily there with Marc Casado, and he's had his pocket picked by Lucas Boy. Denis Suarez, formerly of Barcelona of course, is then fouled by Marc Bernal. That'll be a timely free kick for Barcelona. Did well there, for Alavés rather, just to protect the ball there, Denis Suarez, and draw the contact. With 20 minutes gone here. A goal at either end. Pablo Ibanez is first for the season for Alavés. Lamine Yamal's 5th in league action has hauled Barcelona back level in the game. Alavés know they do have to offer something in the opposite direction to try and claw themselves back into this one. It's a long time since they've beaten Barcelona. Catalans have won the last 5 in a row against Alavés. They have to go all the way back to 2016, a run of 15 games, to find the last time that the Basque team were victorious against their Catalan rivals. It is Kubasi, midway inside the Barcelona half, sweeps it out to the left-hand side for Casado, linking now with Alejandro Balde, fronted up though by Johnny Castro. Lamine Yamal again just shunted backwards by the tracking of Rebac. Pareda forces him further back at that time. It's a two-man job dealing with Lamine Yamal, and here's an opportunity for Alavés to break away down their right-hand side. Nice little feet from Cabete. He manages to try and just slide that in for the runners from midfield, and it was Ibanez who's enjoying himself today. Calebe with the sweet feet to get away from Alejandro Balde. The ball in behind for Ibanez, just a bit too heavy. Lovely ball into the left channel for Balde to chase, but he's tracked across there. It's well dealt with by Tenaglia. Johnny Castro just beaten for pace there as Balde spotted the space to dart into. And Rafinha will fight to keep it in play on the far left-hand touchline. He's appealing for a foul there. It's Calebe, his fellow Brazilian, who was grappling with him, and the decision goes in favour of the former Leeds United man. Quarter of the game gone. Tempo's just dropped ever so slightly after a pretty frenetic first 10 minutes. Here's Kouassi again. Two centre-backs of Barcelona, Kouassi and Gerard Martin, have got plenty of time just to stroke balls around the Camp Nou pitch, and another one into that left channel for Balde to chase. He just won't quite get there in time to keep it in play. A goal kick in favour of Alavés. We've just been shown a replay of that Lamine Yamal goal. Really accomplished, finished. Lewandowski initially trying to help it into the path of Dani Olmo, and then an air shot from Barca's number 20. Cool, calm and collected from Lamine Yamal in the end. Quickly taken, restart here from Silveira, trying to get Alavés moving across the pitch, and squared across the goal. What a save from Joan Garcia. And Rebac showed his pace in behind there, and it's Johnny Castro who just kept bombing forward from that long ball forward. And he is onside. Rebac initially just holds his run to steal in away from Eric Garcia, and then he just feeds it into an area across the 6-yard line, and Castro gets it back on target, and it's a sprawling save from Joan Garcia to pour that behind for a corner to Alavés, their second of the game, and the best chance since the 2 goals of this encounter has fallen for Alavés. And that's a vital save from the Barcelona goalkeeper. He goes to the ground as the ball comes across from Rebac, and he just brings up just in time to pour that round the post. It really is a good stop. And that's flying into the back of the net without his intervention. Johnny punches the floor in frustration. Would have been his first goal of the season as well. Denied by Joan Garcia. Barcelona again trying to loft the ball into that left channel. It's Rafinha who will get across this time and try and steer it back on target. And Barcelona in front, Dani Olmo on cue. The second La Liga goal of the season for the Spain international. And Barcelona have tried to push on that little weakness in behind Johnny Castro, and they get the reward. There's back-to-back runs from Balde that failed to yield an opportunity. Rafinha this time, and the Alavés midfield just caught out of sync. Dani Olmo keeps his cool, keeps it down, fires beyond Silveira. And the home side are in front here. Really good awareness that from Rafinha, just to keep an eye on the run of Olmo, who gets there before the retreating midfielders for Alavés, keeps it down, The speed of the cutback from Rafinha meant that he just had to get his side foot on it to ease it beyond the Alavés goalkeeper. That's that familiar timekeeping celebration that we've seen more than once from Dani Olmo in recent months. And the home side, for the first time this evening, 26 minutes gone, are in front. Dani Olmo doubling their advantage. And Alavés will have to dig deep here to just avoid a situation where the game gets away from them. We've seen Barcelona do that to many, many teams this season. Absolutely prolific at scoring goals, Barcelona. That is something that Alavés need to avoid here. And there's a break on over the halfway line. Turnover, Ibanez loses out. Rafinha just has that pinched off his toe by Tenaglia. Barcelona breaking at pace through the middle of the pitch there. Lamine Yamal with the carry. He had Rafinha and Lewandowski either side of him. Went for the Brazilian. Good bit of sharp, proactive defending though from Tenaglia. Just covers the ground quickly to make sure he couldn't get a shot away. Chance here now for Lamine to come back over to his familiar right side. He's trying to step in field and get a shot loose. Blocked on the edge of the penalty area. Bernal tried to wind him one up. Here is Eric Garcia. Rabat just loses his foot in there, and Garcia can make some headway down this right hand side. Goes for the 1-2 with Lamine Yamal. Garcia will go on. Again, needs an intervention from one of the Alavés centre-backs. It's Jordan Pacheco that gets over there this time. Throwing quickly taken though. Lamine Yamal to the byline, goes down. He wants a penalty here. Referee says no for the moment. He was sandwiched in between a couple of Alavés defenders there. Tenaglia just making the point to Lamine Yamal. It's not sufficient enough to yield the penalty. Just popped it away from Pacheco. And it's Pareda and Tenaglia that go with him. As Lamine Yamal weaves his magic there and does run the ball out of play. He's asking the question of whether or not that was sufficient contact for him to go down. Not for me. There's possibly two Alavés players at fault there, Tenaglia and Pareda. Both trying to get in position to make life difficult for Lamine, and he's gone down here and asking for treatment from the Barcelona medical staff. So on the half an hour mark, Barcelona's main man just taking a breather here. We can take this opportunity just again to spin back over to the Premier League as Lamine Yamal is helped to his feet. Half time across the board, so Brentford 0, Burnley 0. Goalless at the G-Tech, Manchester City 2, Leeds United 0. Pep Guardiola's team in front via Phil Foden and Josko Gvardiol. And it's Sunderland 1, Bournemouth 2. Enzo Lafille from the penalty spot after 2 goals inside the first 15 minutes for Amin Adli and Tyler Adams. Could certainly be a result to keep an eye on that one. And if you are sticking with us this evening, we do have 2 later Premier League games. It's a 5:30 start at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Everton are home to Newcastle. And then an 8 PM UK kickoff and a London derby between Tottenham and Fulham. So Lamine Yamal back on his feet and back in action. Alavés will get us back underway. Alejandro Balde just can't quite gather in that knockdown on the halfway line from Casado. Excuse me. Be a throw into Alavés in their right back spot. Here is Eric Garcia. Lucas Boy just looking to chase and harry across that Barcelona back four. It's a difficult task for him up front on his own, and charged with trying to keep the pressure up and pounce if there's an error from Kovacic or Martin. Lamine Yamal again trying to dance his way past a couple of challenges, and that is a foul. Just right of centre, midway inside the Alavés half of the field, and it's going to be a card here for Rebac. He's had a couple of warnings from the referee. Just leaves his foot in there as Lamine drops the shoulder and skips away from him. He's not the first player to be lured into a trap. But that is the first yellow card of the afternoon. Free kick squandered though by Barcelona, and Alavés can turn this over inside the centre circle. Here is Rebac again. Needs support down this left hand side. He's got runners inside him and outside him. Paredes ignored for now. And Ibanez comes across, and he's eventually penalised for a foul there. It's Eric Garcia who's gone down and rolled rather theatrically off the pitch. And he's wearing a face mask today, Eric Garcia. It looks as if he takes a clatter in the side of the cheek there as Ibanez and Denis Suarez just try and keep the ball for Alavés. He certainly looks in distress here. Now my first assessment of that is it's not a loose elbow from Denis Suarez, it's an attempt to push Garcia away from the ball, but because he's protecting that facial injury, this could be a real worry for Hansi Flick if he needs to be replaced. It's a reshuffle back line that he's put in today to try and preserve players for the Atletico Madrid game. He does have Koundé and Christensen on the bench if needed. Barcelona temporarily are going to be down to 10 players whilst Eric Garcia is checked over here. His namesake Joan with the free kick launched up this right hand channel. Lamine Yamal loses out to Rebac. Garcia is signalling here that he wants to come back on. The referee confirming that he wants to wait for the green light from the Barcelona medics. There'll be a concussion check taking place here as well, of course. Any injury that could be related to a head knock. Throw-in turned over on the centre circle by Alavés. Here is Johnny Castro. Floated that one forward from right back, and Lucas Boy's got space to dart in behind it. Can he get a shot away? Really important bit of defending there from Pau Kovacic. Barcelona not able to completely get it away here, and Alavés will keep the pressure up down this near left hand side. Curled in from Paredes towards Ibanez. It is dealt with this time though by Barcelona and just about hoisted away. Lucas Boy was buzzing around there as well. They will keep the pressure up here, Alavés. Barcelona back in numbers now, still down to 10. Garcia not ready to come back on just yet, so Lamine Yamal has darted back to cover it right back. Alavés just keep possession over on their far right hand side. Roll back into the centre circle for Pacheco. Paredes forward down this near left hand side. He wanted that early ball played in, but Pacheco opts for a safety ball infield. Castro linking there with Calebe, and Calebe goes down. That's going to be the first card of the game for a Barcelona player. And it's Marc Bernal who was partially at fault for the opening goal from Ibanez. Caleb did really well there, just waited and waited to the last moment and skips beyond. But now, Eric Garcia has been ushered back onto the field of play with his Batman mask in place. His first job here will be to defend this free kick over on the right-hand touchline for Alavés, just a yard or two in off the touchline, level with the edge of Barcelona's penalty box. The referee here just instructing Lucas Boyd to keep his distance and not engaging in any pushing and shoving. The ball in, aimed in towards that near post and headed over the top by Ibanez. Jules Koundé has been sent out to warm up. That's possibly an indication that Eric Garcia may not be out for the second half. Of which we've got just under 7 minutes to go until the end of, or the end of the first half rather. Here is Eric Garcia, first involvement since coming back on after that injury to the side of his head. But now, Martin. Again, Barcelona trying to use that left-hand side. Balde well forward here. He's got Rafinha just inside the penalty area. Can't quite make the pass stick though. Severa there, good bit of commanding goalkeeping. Gave the shout to Tenaglia and Pacheco. And Johnny Castro tries to roll that into the feet of excuse me, Ibanez, and he's then fouled by the retreating Alejandro Balde. Another free kick for Alavés and another step forward towards the half-time whistle. A goal behind at the break is not a dreadful situation for Alavés to be in. Pacheco is charged down there by Lamine Yamal as he tries to clear away on the edge of Alavés' penalty area. Throw-in attempting to get Lucas Boyd wrestling away from Gerard Martin, but it's eventually just lofted back to Joan Garcia. I should of course mention Barcelona back at the Camp Nou, but not at full capacity. It's only 2/3 full. The club's still requiring a host of paperwork to be completed to allow a full return. Long ball over the top, Rafinha tried to get away there. Another timely bit of goalkeeping from Antonio Severa. Just raced out to the edge of his penalty area to thwart Rafinha. Had to get that challenge right. Tackled him like a centre-back there, Severa. And a third goal for Barcelona and 2 behind for the break. Before the break, you'd imagine would be curtains for Alavés. The goalkeeper with the vital interception there. We tick over the 40-minute mark, 5 to the break. Barcelona still 2-1 in front. Lamine Yamal, Dani Olmo on the back of a breakthrough after just 45 seconds from Pablo Ibanez. Here is Eric Garcia, nice link up there with Lamine Yamal. Can't quite make it stick and find Olmo. And then Olmo just clatters into the back of Pareda. It'll be a free kick for Barcelona. A free kick for Alavés rather in their left back spot here. Pacheco just ushering Pareda and Rebac further forward, and we do get the sense here that Alavés feel they can create something before the break. The long ball up to Lucas Boyd hasn't really yielded too much, but of course Barcelona 1 or 2 problems with a fairly direct approach when needed. Given away again inside the centre circle. Denis Suarez spots the dart into the channel of Ibanez. Needs white shirts in the penalty area. Just looks to hold the ball up on the dead ball line for now. He's trying to win himself a corner there off Pau Kubasi. Just couldn't quite get a ball into the box, but Alavés will once again win back possession. Really tigerish stuff from them here when they're pushed into the Barcelona half of the field. Blanco just rolls that one back to Johnny Castro. Happy to dart forward from right back Castro and try and give Alejandro Balde something to think about, and they've won a throw in here, Alavés. They want to try and keep themselves inside Barcelona territory before the end of the first half. Just 2 minutes of regulation time to go here. There will be a few minutes added on. The Eric Garcia injury, the lengthiest delay that we've had so far. Kalebe just tries to roll that in for the sprint forward from Johnny Castro, but combination of Balde and Martin just about deal with it, and then Kalebe catches Martin, and it'll be a free kick for Barcelona. Plenty for Alavés to build on here. They've lived on the edge a couple of times, particularly that ball for Rafinha just a moment or two ago that needed Sivera to play the sweeper-keeper role. A mixed start for them since the start of the season. Back-to-back defeats coming into this game. Lost away at Girona, a home to Celta last time out. Just one win in the last 5 in LaLiga. It's a home to Espanyol, and they've only beaten Athletic Bilbao away from home so far this season. That was all the way back in September. They are amongst that clutch of teams that could very, very easily get dragged into a relegation battle. Gut instinct would be that they'll probably be okay. Happy in mid-table to an extent, and confident and comfortable about being a steady La Liga operator. Barcelona wanted a free kick there as Lewandowski goes down just outside the penalty area. No foul, says the referee. Here's Lamine Yamal, tries to roll that back into Lewandowski. He'll go back here to Lamine Yamal, tries to get around Sivera, and he's missed. My word, what an opportunity for Lamine Yamal. Elastic feet from the Spaniard there to get away from 2 tackles, and as Sivera goes down, he was round him, and he just maybe ran out of grass as he tried to put his right foot around it into the near post. And that is a huge let-off for Alavés in the final seconds of the first half. Lovely little roll of the studs over the top of the ball. Gives Sivera the eyes. He's scrambling across. Just think maybe Lamine Yamal off balance there. The angle was tight. And that's inches away for 3 goals for Barcelona. Alavés survive again. And if they can get over the line at half-time here, just 2-1 down, it'll be Eduardo Coudet who'll be the more pleased of the 2 managers, certainly. But there's been 2 chances in the last 5 minutes that Barcelona could and probably should have put in the back of Sivera's net. Rafinha, now Lamine Yamal. Alavés gritty once more inside the centre circle after a bit of push and a shove, and have won themselves a free kick. Denis Suarez will float that one in. Easy claim though for Joan Garcia. They've been rushed in those situations, Alavés, when they've had a free kick in a good crossing position. They've tended to be a bit too over-eager. And we'll have 4 minutes of additional time here. We've played one of those already. Waiting for that Suarez free kick. Alavés still in this. We've got a break on here down this near left-hand side. Paredes got space to get away from Eric Garcia, and he's just about managed to bundle past him. Chance! And fired past this near post. And that was an opportunity for Alavés. Paredes was all alone initially down this near left-hand side. Just waits for Garcia to come across. That's Lucas Boy with the opportunity, just doesn't wrap his foot around it enough. Martin throwing himself at it. He's claiming that Garcia got a touch on that to send it behind for a corner. Referee says no for now. And Alavés have had their opportunities. Johnny Castro denied by Garcia, and that was a good 50-50 opportunity there for Lucas Boy. He's only scored 2 La Liga goals this season, the Alavés frontman. You don't get too many opportunities as a visiting side here at the Camp Nou. Johnny Castro does really well there just to get back inside his own penalty area and block off Rafinha. Alavés just need to see this out to half-time and try and ensure that Barcelona momentum is just checked ever so slightly by the half-time interval. 2 minutes of the additional 4 still to play though. We're back underway across the Premier League as well. Brentford 0, Burnley 0, Manchester City 2, Leeds 0, Sunderland 1, Bournemouth 2. It's going to be a throw-in for Barcelona here, midway inside the Alavés half, down over on the far left-hand side. Antonio Blanco just not able to keep that in play before he cleared it away. So a final bit of defending for Alavés to do. Eric Garcia here appears to be signalling to the Barcelona bench again that he is struggling after taking that whack in the face from Denis Suarez. Jules Koundé has already gone down the tunnel, so fairly safe to confidently assume that will be an alteration made by Hansi Flick at the break. Here is Pau Kubasi, just steps back into his own half to dip away from the challenge of Lucas Boy. Martin out to Balde. Rafinha, who'd come a heck of a long way back there to take the short ball from Balde. Immediately swarmed on by the white shirts of Alavés and has to go back to Kubasi. Now Garcia tries to pop the little 1-2 with Lamine Yamal, who's done really well there just to step away from Pereira. And the two Alavés players have gone careering into each other there in their attempts to stop Lamine Yamal. Pablo Ibanez came across to try and help out, and he's only succeeded in challenging his own player. And that is what Lamine Yamal can do to you in a dangerous situation. And the referee, though, blows for half-time here at Barcelona. A cracking start to the Camp Nou. Pablo Ibanez's first La Liga goal of the campaign, putting the visitors 1-0 in front inside the first 60 seconds. The Hansi Flick's team have hit back. Lamine Yamal and Dani Olmo giving them the lead at the break. And as it stands, Barcelona are heading back to the top of La Liga, overnight at least. And it is half-time here on Flash Score. Barcelona 2, Alavés 1. We'll be back with all the second half action in 15 Alavés won as the home side get us back up and running at the Estadio Camp Nou. Two changes at the break for Barcelona as expected. Jules Koundé on at right back for Eric Garcia, and an introduction at the break also for Marcus Rashford. He replaces Marc Bernal, so you imagine might be a slight tweak in formation. Dani Olmo pushed into a deeper position to allow Rashford to join the party with Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski and Rafinha. Olmo and Casado as the anchors, and then Koundé, Kouassi, Martin, Balde at the back in front of Joan Garcia. No changes for Alavés as they look to claw themselves back into this one. Sivera in goal, Castro, Tenaglia, Pacheco, Pareda in defence, Calebe, Suarez, Blanco, Ibanez, Rebac in midfield, and Lucas Boy up top. And with a minute gone here already, I can give my favourite statistic that at this point in the first half, Alavés were already one goal in front thanks to Paulo Ibanez. Just a reaction though from Lamine Yamal, and this man who's just given away the ball, Dani Olmo, that have got Barcelona in front. And we can also do a quick Premier League update. Still 0-0 at the GTEC Community Stadium. Brentford 0, Burnley 0. Leeds United have got a goal back at Manchester City. Man City 2, Leeds 1. Dominic Calvert-Lewin halving the deficit in Manchester. And Sunderland are at level at home to Bournemouth. Enzo Laffi and Bertrand Traore either side of the break, bringing the Black Cats back from 2 goals down. There's Barcelona in possession here on the halfway line. Alejandro Balde just wants to knock that one into the channel for Olmo to break for. Neatly dealt with though by Alavés, and now Marcus Rashford will just pick the pocket of Antonio Blanco. First involvement here for Rashford, and he's just about managed to keep the ball in play on the byline and win a throw-in for Barcelona. So we'll keep an eye on how the new formation shakes out. It could be Rafinha that's been moved centrally in behind Robert Lewandowski. That does look to be the case. Rafinha on the left, Lamine Yamal on the right, and Dani Olmo will be given a bit of licence to push forward and leave Marc Casado to mind the shop on his own. It's a hell of a front four to be able to start the second half with Lamine, Rafinha, Rashford and Lewandowski. Here is Jules Koundé, his first touch of the ball, bombing forward from right back, just pops that infield over the halfway line to Dani Olmo, roll forward to the edge of Alavés' penalty area. Lewandowski will protect that and find Rashford. He's immediately got 2 players on him, Johnny and Calebe. Second half continuing in the pattern with which the first ended, with Barcelona enjoying the majority of the ball and Alavés trying to win their duels and break forward. Lamine just about managing to wriggle away from the attentions of Rebac. Now Martin, midway inside the Alavés half of the field. Everybody in blue and burgundy pushed over the halfway line. Casado there. Appealing to the referee that he was pulled back by Lucas Boy, but eventually the decision is given in Barcelona's direction, but it's for a foul on Balde by Ibanez. Free kick in a very, very dangerous position here for Barcelona. 22, 23 yards from goal, left of centre from their perspective, and perfect for a right footer to try and test Sivera or loft this one in. Kouassi, Martin and Lewandowski, who are all in position. Olmo and Rashford, the 2 candidates, standing over. So it will be Rashford here to take. Just rolled square though for Rafinha to drive straight at Sivera. Right idea there. Alavés were fully expecting Rashford to just curl that one into the box, and Rafinha do that once or twice last season. A free kick just rolled to him and he'll batter it into the back of the opposition net. Not this time. That easy gather for Sivera, and Alavés have survived the first 5 minutes of the second half. We will have team news from Everton at home to Newcastle in just a few minutes as well. If you're sticking with us this evening, that's a 5:30 start here on Flashscore. Spurs against Fulham is the 8 o'clock Saturday night game. Still plenty of road to run here though in Catalonia as Barcelona look to confirm their place back at the top of the LaLiga rankings. Victory here will give them a 2-point edge over Real Madrid. Xabi Alonso goes to Girona. An 8 PM kickoff tomorrow night. We'll also have live audio coverage of that one. Suarez does really well there, just in front of his own penalty area, to win back possession and ward off the attentions of Jules Koundé. Heavy touch initially though from Johnny Castro as he tries to step out from defence, but helped out by Blanco. Leeds are level at Manchester City. Lucas Nemecha has got the equaliser, but Alavés almost thought they had a break on down that far left-hand side. Rabac flagged offside though. Plenty of players from both sides have been sent out to warm up for possible second half introduction. Double change from Barca at the break was deemed enough by Hansi Flick. Koundé and Rashford up. Lovely little back heel there from Rafinha. Almost got Lewandowski away, but it's smacked clear by Severa, only as far as Jules Koundé. Now Casado. Rolled across the centre circle for Dani Olmo. Gerard Martin. Koubassi. Alavés will be confident as long as this stays at just a 1-goal deficit that they have a possible route back into the match. Lamine Yamal really silkily there, just popping off the 1-2 to Jules Koundé, but the massed ranks of the Alavés backline get back in position, and Calebe is trying to give Balde a problem to deal with here, and that's really, really good defending by the Spain international. Just got his body in between man and ball, and as he's wriggled away from Calebe there, he's won himself a foul, and the Barcelona players have gone straight over to the referee. Arias, the man in the middle today, already had the yellow card in his hand, and he's making that point to Dani Olmo, let me referee the game. It's a deserved booking that for Calebe. Really clever play from Balde. That's the second Alavés player on a card, Rabac and Calebe. Marc Bernal caution for Barcelona after he fouled Calebe. Barca back in possession. Here is Gerard Martin, 25 yards from his own goal. Space to step forward and try and pop one into midfield, but that passing lane is shut off, and Dani Olmo just signals to send it over to the far right-hand side. Koundé to Lamine Yamal. It's a fresh issue for the two players down that left for Alavés to deal with. Rabac and Pereira have struggled at times with Lamine Yamal, but Eric Garcia is a different type of rampaging fullback to Jules Koundé. As if Lamine Yamal on his own is not enough to put up with. It's an even trickier task when Koundé joins the party. It'll be a foul for Alavés inside their own penalty area. Calebe there just takes the contact from behind by Marc Casado. 10 minutes gone here since the restart. No change in the scoreline. Still Barcelona 2, Alavés 1. Visitors looking to just manage their way into a position where they can possibly strike back. And there are changes incoming for Alavés. Movement down on the bench. We'll get confirmation on that in just a moment or two. A long clearance from Severa, just not able to stick with Lucas Boy. Lamine Yamal's done really well here. He's having a great time over on that right flank, and he's managed to get away from 1, 2, 3 challenges. He just ran into Antonio Blanco eventually, and the decision has gone in Alavés' favour as Casado raced across there to back up his mate. Lamine Yamal, the ball just sticking to his feet as Suarez and Blanco darted across to try and block him off. And Casado comes in heavy-handed and gives away a foul in the opposite direction. It's Casado again, goes to ground once more. Rashford will Try and win that bouncing ball inside the centre circle. Just skids away from him though, and Alavés have a chance to build away down this near right hand side. Kelebe with space to run at Balde. Just worked in field to Denis Suarez. Now Ibanez needs options down that left hand side. Gets it from Rebac, who thought that Ibanez or Suarez were making the dart into the penalty area and just tried to cut back, but it's cleared away. Good challenge on Lamine Yamal by Pereira rather. Now Barcelona will try and spring forward. Rafinha with the first time pass into Lewandowski. Cleared away initially though by Ibanez, who got back there, covered a heck of a lot of ground to race back into position. There's another former Barcelona player that's going to be introduced here by Alavés. Carlos Elena came through the La Masia system that's produced so many talented Barcelona players down the years. 7 graduates in the starting 11 for Barcelona today, and 1 for Alavés in Denis Suarez. Corner curled in by Rashford. What a save by Sivera! And that should be 3-1. There's Lewandowski at the near post. It just flashes the header straight at Sivera. But that is unbelievable reactions from the Alavés goalkeeper. And we will have to check a replay on that one. The 2 Barcelona players going for the ball. Do you think it's Lewandowski that gets the contact? And that's a brilliant save from Sivera. Not once, not twice, but thrice he's kept Alavés in this game. And Barcelona have looked to turn the screw. And that is the best save of the lot. Denied Rafinha, denied Lamine Yamal just before the break. And that is a sensational save to keep the scores as is. Barcelona will come again. Here is Alejandro Balde. Skips in field from left back over the halfway line. He runs into 2 Alavés players though. Have to settle for a throw in. Barcelona are going to make a change potentially at the same time as Alavés here as we edge towards the hour mark. Just been shown a replay of that Lewandowski header and Sivera save, and it is brilliant. Nothing short of sensational to deny Lewandowski what would have been another goal against Alavés. He scored 7 in his time at Barcelona, but for now at least there's no number 8 for him. So double change for Barcelona, for Alavés rather. Double change for Barcelona will be made in a moment or two. There's the 2 wide men, Kelebe and Rebac, who are off. There's Carlos Elena and Carlos Vicente on. 2 changes on the road for Barcelona. We'll get those confirmed in just a moment or two. And Sunderland have completed the turnaround at home to Bournemouth. They're now 3-2 in front. Been a really strong return to the big time for Reggie Lebris's team. Brian Broby, who got that goal against Arsenal recently as well, is the man who, as it stands, has put them on course for victory. Cross floated in by Lamine Yamal and cleared away. Alavés will try and break through the middle here. Gerard Martin just gets across there on Lucas Boy and slams the door in his face. A frustrating game for him so far, Lucas Boy. Pretty thankless task up top on his own, trying to make an impact, and so far they've not been quite able to do that. So 60 minutes on the clock, and Robert Lewandowski's number is up for this evening. Ferran Torres will complete out the game for Barcelona. We're also going to see Pedri introduced in the Barcelona midfield as well. And a like-for-like change. Rafinha is off, so that'll be Dani Olmo shuffled permanently forward, and Pedri will also take the armband from Rafinha. Can bring you news of another Premier League goal. Brentford 1, Burnley 0. Igor Thiago from the penalty spot from the Bees, or for the Bees rather. So Man City 2, Leeds 2, Sunderland 3, Bournemouth 2. And with 28 minutes to go here, no change in the scoreline. Barcelona 2, Alavés 1. Here's Marcus Rashford. Not had too many chances to run at Johnny Castro since he's come on, Rashford, but just a tangle of legs between himself and the recovering Ibanez there. Actually cleared away for a Barcelona throw-in. Did have a quick glance at the referee there as Ibanez put his hand in his back, but not enough contact really for a possible penalty review. Nicely poised now this game. It's exactly where Alavés want it. They survived a few scares and kept themselves in the contest. The onus now in the final stages is, can they create something to try and sucker punch Barcelona and really change the narrative here tonight. Lamine Yamal forced back inside his own half by Pareda. Now Rashford, space this time to drive right at the heart of the Alavés defence, and he goes down on the edge of the box. Again, decision against Rashford. Just hurdled over a couple of challenges there, and the referee instantly waving away any sort of claims. Rashford has stayed down momentarily. He just swerved away from Johnny Castro coming in from one side and gets Tenaglia on the other. Same result though for Rashford. Here is Alejandro Balde. Rashford once more. Cross doesn't manage to beat the first man. It's Carlos Vicente who's taken Calebe's place here on this near right hand side. He'll try and dig in and lend a hand to Johnny Castro. Carlos Elena on the opposite left flank, not his natural position, but player who I'm sure would love to get a goal back here at the Nou Camp. Didn't quite work for him during his time here, and despite plenty of promise, he's able to really make an impact. 44 games in 5 seasons, and he's bobbed around LaLiga ever since. Loans at Real Betis and Getafe. Joined Getafe permanently for a few years and found himself at Alavés. Just becoming a bit scrappy here now as we move into the final 25 minutes. The referee's had multiple complaints from both sides over decisions that have not gone in their favour, and Lucas Boy is the latest there inside the centre circle. He's claiming that he was dragged down by Gerard Martin, and the referee Arias just signals for him to get back up to his feet and get on with the game. Here's Balde, space to get forward again in front of Vicente. Goes for the 1-2 with Rashford. Vicente will stay with him to the dead ball line. Vicente wins that tussle initially. Rashford just about manages to keep it in play and wins the corner for Barcelona. A chance here down this near left hand side. Rashford will come over to take. The referee here has had enough of certain players complaining, and he's going to just speak to the Barcelona captain Pedri and ask him to try and calm down the troops. There was actually an issue with Rafinha, who was substituted off, and the fourth official has spoken to Arias and said that Rafinha is yet to take his seat as per the rules after being substituted. Hansi Flick has now told him to sit down as Lamine Yamal just bends one wide of the target. So Burnley equalised at Brentford on 85 minutes. Penalty from Zian Fleming. And Brentford have gone straight up the other end and retaken the lead. What a final 10 minutes at the G-Tech Community Stadium. We'll get confirmation on that goal scorer in just a moment or two. 3 goals inside the final stages in West London. And it is Igor Thiago again for Keith Andrews' team. Goals all over the place in the Premier League this afternoon. Just had confirmation there that that issue with Rafinha saw one of the Barcelona coaching staff shown a red card by Arias, who came out to express a few harsh words towards the officials, and he's been given his marching orders and will spend the remainder of the game in the stands. Plenty of controversy here, but no goals in the second half. Here is Pau Kubasi. Possession eventually worked back to him on the halfway line for Barcelona. Now Koundé. He's been caught there by late challenge. Play on, says the referee. Lamine Yamal just unable to get away from Pareda. Koundé stayed down in some discomfort here, and the Barcelona players again surround the referee. It's Carlos Elena just trying to recover the situation there. Blocks off Koundé. We are going to see another couple of changes for Alavés. And Guevara and John Guridi. Eduardo Coudet seems confident that he can still get something from this. The goal scorer Pablo Ibanez, the first player off. That'll be a like for like in the midfield with Ander Guevara. An attacking change as well. Denis Suarez is the other player off, and John Guerridi is normally a attacking player. He's a versatile operator for Alavés, but he'll be tasked to get up there with Lucas Boy, and if there is an opportunity here for them to get something from this game, he could well be a big part of that. Casado on the spin inside the centre circle, just under a bit of pressure there, so he manages to tow it across to Gerard Martin. Now Balde got support inside from Casado. Rashford makes the run forward, but he goes to Casado. Now Kubasi, Guerridi immediately looking to pressurise the teenager, and that's good play from Barcelona. Pedri just whizzes past a couple of Alavés players and over the halfway line. Now Lamine Yamal, little outside of the boot ball to Olmo to the byline, deflected behind for a corner. And that's what Barcelona can do. They can go through the gears in a second. Lamine Yamal loves that pass, just perfectly weighted with the outside of the foot. "20 minutes to go here. Corner taken quickly. Lamine Yamal back to Lamine. Now Pedri. Thought about the early cross in there, the Barcelona skipper, but he'll go back to Lamine Yamal. Wasted eventually, just drifting beyond the top right corner of Sivera's goal. We tick over the 70-minute mark here. 20 to go. Barcelona might well just need that third goal to rubber stamp the result. We mentioned the 5:30 Premier League kickoff. Everton at home to Newcastle United. Not confirmed team news, which we'll get to in just a moment here, because Lamine Yamal is on the charge again. Blanco goes across to close him down, midway inside the Alavés half of the field. Casado, Balde, Rashford. I did rather break down a little bit so we can check in on that Everton team news. Jordan Pickford in goal. Jake O'Brien, James Tarkowski, Michael Keane, Vitai Mikalenko. O'Brien replacing captain Seamus Coleman. Idrissa Gana Gueye is of course suspended after his altercation with Michael Keane, so Tim Iriga-Burnham comes into the starting lineup with James Garner, and it's an unchanged front four. Iliman Ndiaye, Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, Jack Grealish and Tierno Barry. Here's Lamine Yamal again, wants to get in on that left foot and try and test Severa, but it's another poor pass into the feet of Olmo and cleared away by Alavés. It's Koundé now who'll lead the charge down that right hand side, gets the cut back to Olmo, chance, just trickles past the post. And in a very, very similar situation to where he powered home Barcelona's second goal, Dani Olmo just can't get the connection he needed there. It was Rafinha down the left in the first half, Koundé down the right this time. He sits up and maybe just bounces in front of Dani Olmo. The sliding figure of Tenaglia certainly not helping the situation, and he maybe just took his eye off the ball there, the Spain international. And that's Barcelona's best opportunity for the last 10 minutes. Alavés have restricted them, kept them at arm's length. And Olmo, who was so crisp in his finishing in the first period, not able to repeat the trick this time. Rashford gets away down the left-hand side, wins a corner. Pacheco gets across once more. Got a bit of man-and ball there, John Pacheco. Nothing more than a corner though, says the referee. Newcastle team: Aaron Ramsdale, Livramento, Thiaw, Byrne and Hall, Lewis Miley, Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton, with Anthony Elanga, Nick Voltemade and Harvey Barnes in attack. Into added time in all of those 3 o'clock Premier League games. We'll get a score update in just a moment or two. Rashford to take the corner from this Barcelona left-hand side. Hung in towards the far post, headed back across goal. Guiridi just about prevents another corner. With Ferran Torres there, just trying to knock it back into a dangerous area for Barcelona. Brentford have got a third goal at home to Burnley. Dango Ouattara. That should be done and dusted, but just wait for the full-time whistle across the board there. Barcelona restart with Joan Garcia. Balde onto Rashford, given away by Rashford. Just tried to go back to Balde, and Alavés though can't keep hold of the ball in midfield, and the game's starting to become a bit more stretched here as Alavés just push forward ever so slightly. Lamine Yamal back to Olmo. Lamine with the strike, falls back for Ferran Torres. Lamine again blocked, and eventually just fizzes behind. It looked as if he was bouncing for a corner, but Dani Olmo refusing to give up on that. Barcelona want to get this job done. Here is Lamine Yamal. Roll back into Dani Olmo. Can he get a shot off? Casado has the option of Pedri. Blocked by Pacheco. Alavés hanging on here now as we head into the final 15 minutes. Manchester City back in front at home to Leeds United. We'll come to that in just a moment. Goal inside added time from Phil Foden. Now Balde. Space to gallop forward from left back once more. Needs support, gets it from Rashford. Shuffled back in field though by Johnny Castro. Alavés getting through a serious amount of work here. Do they still have the cool-headedness to take a chance if it falls their way? Well, just over 15 minutes to do so. Barcelona increasingly anxious, pushing for that third goal that would put the rubber seal on this one. Koundé to Lamine Yamal. Again, just tries another sneaky little ball into Ferran Torres, but Antonio Severa will get his gloves on that one. There's the potential for a change up top for Alavés. Lucas Boyes ran himself into the ground and yielded very little. Former Real Madrid man Mariano Diaz is on the bench for Alavés and might possibly be an option to be thrown on. There's still plenty of time though. Eduardo Coudet needs to get that decision right. He can't afford to leave too much open green space here for Barcelona to raid through his team, because that will be game over. Here is Lamine Yamal. ushered back into his own half by Carlos Elena. Now Casado inside the centre circle. Pace just dropping ever so slightly here as Lamine Yamal shuffles backwards into right back and switches places with Jules Koundé. He's on the charge again down that right flank. Lamine Yamal trying to get Alavés on the back foot. That's a poor ball in field. Guiridi gets a toe, but it'll fall to Pedri, 25 yards out. Tries to dink onto his left foot to get a shot away. Crowded out once more. Now Rashford will take over. The white shirts of Alavés just happy to go left and right and keep Barcelona moving the ball around. As long as they keep them outside of their penalty area, they'll keep themselves in this game. Pedri, lovely little swivel there to step away from Antonio Blanco. Koundé, Pedri again, midway inside the Alavés half, just right of centre. Needs options in front of him, and Ferran Torres there. Just tried to play the wall pass back out to Lamine Yamal. Going to be a throw-in for Alavés and a break. A breather for them over at left back. So full-time whistle has blown at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brentford 3, Burnley 1, all 4 goals coming after the 80-minute mark. Igor Thiago from the penalty spot. Zian Fleming then equalising from the penalty spot. But another for the Brazilian. That's 11 for him in the Premier League this season. And then a late clincher from Dango Altara, securing another vital victory for Keith Andrews' team. It is 3-2. That full-time whistle has also blown at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City 3, Leeds United 2. Dicey stuff for Pep Guardiola's side. 2-0 up at the break. Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Lucas Nemecha getting Leeds back into it. Foden with the final say, though, for the home side, securing another win. As Alavés try and storm forward here. Chance at the near post for Lucas Boy. And he just can't get his foot around that. It was Carlos Vicente. Spotted the space in behind Alejandro Balde. Not the best cutback for Lucas Boy. It's his only really option to aim at, and Kouassi just sticks to his man there at the near post and gets the block in. So it'll be a corner for Alavés. Might be underselling that bit of defending from Pau Kouassi. Corner for Alavés. Vicente to take. Just falls over on that far side. Alavés will try and get it back in again. The referee eventually signals for offside. It's John Pacheco trying to make a nuisance of himself and just managed to just knock that ball down, but there's 2 Alavés players offside. Blanco and Tenaglia. Still going at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 3, Bournemouth 2. The referee just has his attention called over on the far side. Carlos Elena has dropped down with what looks like a touch of cramp here. Well, in fact, it's Victor Parada who's dropped down with the cramp. To be expected when you're chasing Lamine Yamal around all night. 10 minutes to go here. Both players just take advantage of this stoppage to take some fluids on board. No lasting damage for Pareda, just a quick stretch. There's an important final stages to come here. Lamine Yamal is certainly not slowing down, and his manager needs him to defend that side and give Alavés the best opportunity to possibly haul themselves back into this game. And there will be one final change. I beg your pardon, it will be Pareda. Maybe that situation was more serious. Tony Martinez rolled on for the final 10. Barcelona certainly don't need to chase this, but a few jangling nerves starting to show here, certainly amongst the home fans. Nothing to lose for Alavés. Kubasi keeps it going for Barcelona. Jules Koundé, midway inside the Barcelona half of the field. He spent most of his second half in the Alavés half. Clip ball forward there in the channel again. Rashford the target. Johnny Castro will try and stay with him. Blanco comes across. He's grappling and pulling at Rashford there. He's earned himself a card here. The Alavés captain spotted that Castro was struggling and gets across there. That's his 5th yellow card of the LaLiga season, so he'll miss the home game against Real Sociedad on the 6th of September. And he's given Barcelona a free kick here in a perfect crossing position beyond the Alavés 18-yard line down the Barcelona left-hand side. Right on the touchline, perfect for Rashford to try and fire in across here. A bit of organising for the referee to do inside the penalty area. And Rashford just told to wait for a moment. Eventually, poor ball in from Rashford, headed away at the near post by Guridi. That's all 5 of Alavés' allotted substitutions made, and Barcelona are going to make a 5th change. Andres Christensen is stripped and ready to go. Going to have a throw in first from Alejandro Balde. Pushed down this left hand side, midway in the Alavés half of the field. Tossed up towards Ferran Torres. Dani Olmo can't read the knockdown though. Alavés will try and step forward themselves. Here is the substitute Tony Martinez. Carlos Elena's moved in field after that change with Martinez over on the far side. Here is Elena. Tries to just float that little ball in over the halfway line. Martinez had gone a bit too early there and was flagged offside. Lucas Boy was the probable target for Elena. Free kick here against Tony Martinez. He's been heavily involved since coming on. Just catches Gerard Martinez, a sore one. With his studs on the top of the Spaniard's boot as he clears away. Martin might be the player who is due to be replaced by Andres Christensen. He's just looked over to see if it is named, but it's not. It's Pau Kubasi. So the 5th and final change for Barcelona. Kubasi is off, Christensen on for this final 6 minutes of normal time, and plus whatever additional is tacked on by the officials. Another free kick for Barcelona. Dani Olmo trying to get away down the right hand side, is knocked to the floor by Guevara. Here's Christensen's first involvement, just goes back to Joan Garcia. Now Gerard Martin tries to step away and cruise past Tony Fernandez, Tony Martinez tangles with him again. Jules Koundé over the halfway line from right back for Barcelona. Casado claiming that he was fouled there by Guridi. Nothing doing, says the referee. Alavés will work it over the halfway line. Carlos Vicente, who's drifted in off that right hand side, tries to make some ground. Lovely little knock through. Here's Guridi. Big chance for Alavés. Big save for Joan Garcia. And eventually the offside flag is up. But that's Alavés' best chance of the second half. On first glance, it looked as if Guridi had just about held his run. As Christensen and Balde sticking out legs in behind, that if that maybe was needed to be looked at by VAR, could be a closer call than he expected. Joan Garcia stays alert though, sticks out a boot to keep out Guridi. Alavés are still fighting in this game. themselves a few minutes to possibly end that losing streak. They've lost their last 5 in LaLiga against Barcelona. Haven't beaten them since 2016. I think that might be a bit ambitious, but there is still certainly scope here for an equaliser. Good switch from left to right for Carlos Vicente. Had his hand stuck in the air for a few seconds there, eventually finds its way to it. He'll try and make that dart in behind Balde. Balde with the headed clearance towards Dani Olmo. Guerreri with the pressure. Olmo just about manages to get that over the halfway line. Lovely touch there from Tengalia to get away from Ferran Torres. Little burst of confidence here for Alavés. Vicente takes that down on his chest in front of Balde this time. Cuts it back. Casado will smack it away on the edge of the Alavés penalty area. Lamine Yamal can't get there over on the far side. And this is Alavés' chance here. Final 2.5 minutes of the 90 plus added time. This is what Eduardo Coudet has been banking on. Maybe we'll only need one opportunity. They've tested Joan Garcia on occasion throughout this match. Feels like a long time since Pablo Ibanez's opening goal. 45 seconds gone as he shocked the defending Spanish champions, but order quickly restored by Lamine Yamal and Dani Olmo before the break. Loose ball eventually just evades Ferran Torres and it will spin all the way back to Antonio Silva. Lofts it up towards the halfway line. Real scrap going on there between Lucas Boy and Pedri. Boy eventually wins out. Switches across this near right hand side for Carlos Vicente to chase. Gets there before Balde. Cut back for Guerreri. He'll drive onto the byline. Tries to lift it towards the far post. Just had a bit too much height on it there for Elena. He'll keep it in play. Lamine Yamal storming back there at right back. Smashes it behind for a corner. Jules Koundé was caught upfield, claiming that he was fouled as he tried to get back on the cover. Johnny Castro, who's been moved from right back to left back, is being accused of deliberately fouling Jules Koundé there. The referee not interested in his appeals. Into the final minute of the 90. Corner for Alavés over on their far left hand side. Defending to do at the death here for Barcelona. Delivered in, flicked on, cleared away. Combination of Balde and Ferran Torres. Picked up on the edge of the 18-yard box by Pedri. Can he get Ferran Torres released away down the left-hand side? Silva's come and cleared. Almost took man and ball with him there, Silva. For the second time tonight, he's been on his toes when a Barcelona player has been breaking in behind. Thwarted Rafinha just before the break. He was quick out of the traps there in front of Ferran Torres. Just wait on an update here on how much time will be added on. Balde hurls that one long. Doesn't quite reach Ferran Torres, but it'll just bounce out for another Barcelona throw-in. Hansi Flick is encouraging his players to just power down a little bit and manage themselves over the line to victory. 2-1 more than enough at this stage of the game. Torres just not able to take that throw in under his spell. Silva will clear up to the halfway line. Good header from Gerard Martin. Gets there in front of Doni Martinez. Martinez though will fight again. Wins the second ball. This is not a battle that Barcelona want to get themselves into with Boy and Doni Martinez. Carlos Vicente needs runners outside of him. Gets a little link up there with Carlos Elena. The flag is up against the former Barcelona man, and that is a wasted chance for Alavés. Vicente had gone storming beyond him on the overlap, and Elena just not cute enough to keep himself onside. And this is exactly what Barcelona will want, just take the sting out of it. The Alavés fans in the stands here at the Nou Camp expectant more than, rather hopeful rather than expectant. 4 extra minutes indicated here. Joan Garcia with the clearance, headed on by Rashford. Torres does gather it in this time in front of Tenaglia. Scrap away here, and Pacheco goes in hard, but it falls for Dani Olmo, and he's pulled back right on the edge of the Alavés penalty area. Severa clears. Referee not interested once again in the Barcelona appeals, and that certainly did look like a pull on Dani Olmo's shoulder. The referee just happy to let play on. Tries to nick it through to Torres, but again Severa quick on the draw. There's 2 minutes of the additional 4 down. I think it's the Alavés captain Blanco that is the player that almost claiming dragged him back. The referee once again reiterating his position as Tony Martinez is flagged offside, and Barcelona win themselves another free kick in the defensive half just to run the clock down. We didn't expect a flurry of Alavés chances. Maybe the Lucas Boy effort is the closest that we're going to see. Guridi flagged offside, but he was kept out by Joan Garcia. Possibly they've just left it a little bit too late here. Joan Garcia has been spoken to the referee here over allegations of time wasting, and he's going to get himself a yellow card. Barcelona not getting over the line in fully confident style. You do have to scrap when you're challenging for a title, of course. It's not always plain sailing. Nice link up through the middle of the pitch for Alavés here. That's a poor ball forward though. Eventually does manage to work its way to Carlos Vicente. Carlos Elena though tries to back him up and loses possession. Dani Olmo will be quickly in on that. Links up with Lamine Yamal. Chance for Olmo to seal it, and Olmo seals it for Barcelona. With 30 seconds to go, Dani Olmo finally ticks the box for Barcelona. Lamine Yamal with the assist and Olmo with the finishing touch. And Alavés trying to build themselves out of defence. It was a poor ball initially. Vicente tried to win it back, loses out. Elena not strong enough. And then Olmo, quick as a flash, through the centre circle onto Lamine Yamal. Takes the second man run beyond a tired Pacheco. And keeps his head to steer that one beyond Antonio Severa. Really neatly taken goal from Dani Olmo. Just waits for Severa to shift his weight to his right hand side. Left footed back across the goalkeeper. His third La Liga goal of the season, and 3 points wrapped up for Barcelona. They are back on top of La Liga on Saturday night as the focus swings back to Real Madrid tomorrow. And after conceding 3 at Stamford Bridge in midweek, 3 goals here at the Camp Nou. And that, as you'd imagine, has deflated Alavés here. Final seconds were beyond the 4 that was initially indicated. Just a clearance in behind there for Antonio Severa to collect. Pumped forward over the halfway line. First contact won by Barcelona. Marcus Rashford will head for the corner here, and that is full time at the Nou Camp. Barcelona on their La Liga return, bouncing back from defeat to Chelsea. 2 goals for Dani Olmo and 1 for Lamine Yamal. More than enough in the end to get Hansi Flick back in the winning habit. They move top of La Liga overnight. Real Madrid with the gauntlet thrown down to them to react away at Girona tomorrow. But it's full time here on Flashscore. Thank you so much for listening on Saturday afternoon. Full time, it is Barcelona 3, Alavés 1.